Something very important came out of Washington just now. Also, if you have XRP, this is something you should hear. There are big changes going on behind the scenes. And what the White House said just now could change everything about this digital treasure. Wait for it, and when you're ready, type X in the comments. Let's look at this all together. New numbers for XRP from CME Group and the shocking 500 times estimate that has the crypto world buzzing are both big news today. Let's start with the facts, though. Before we get caught up in all the hype, the world's biggest derivatives exchange, CME Group, put out a statement early this morning that caught the attention of all serious investors in this space. CME Group says that since they started trading controlled XRP futures in May, more than 567,000 contracts have been traded, worth almost $27 billion. That's the same as 9 billion XRP. The numbers there are not mine, but theirs. That was just confirmed by the world's largest derivatives market. Let's get one thing straight right away. It's not possible for XRP futures to change the price of XRP on their own. Futures are not a demand product, they are a trade product. The spot ETFs are what will really make a difference and change everything. Those are on the way. Bitwise, WisdomTree, CoinShares, Canary Capital, and even big names like BlackRock, Grayscale, and Fidelity will finally get into this market. As soon as these ETFs are accepted, they will hold real XRP instead of paper contracts. When big companies lock up supply for long-term positions, that's when real demand will start to show. The statistics from CME Group certainly points in that direction. They told us that there is a lot of interest from institutions. The smart money is getting ready for the ETF wave right now. This isn't store hype. This is preparation on a world scale. Normal crypto news, on the other hand, is once again covering all the wrong stories while this institutional demand grows. Today, Coinbaro had another story that said a co-founder of Ripple cashed out millions of XRP, clickbait at its best. They don't say that Chris Larsson, the co-founder they say is betraying the company, just put 50 million XRP into the biggest XRP government bond project in the world. Since the media likes to make drama for hits, the people who built Ripple from the ground up are stepping up their game. This is how false information gets around and how normal buyers get scared off before the real move. On the other hand, the big picture in the US is also not helpful. The markets are under a lot of stress because of the government shutdown, trade tensions, and tariff disagreements. Liquidity sources are being cautious and holding back, which is putting a cap on everything. There are stocks, metals, and yes, crypto. But there is something going on beneath the surface strain. We just found out that President Trump will be meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping next week. Other important officials, such as Scott Bessant, will also be there to talk with the Chinese leaders. These talks might lead to new financial deals, and every time there are changes in global finance, XRP's role in facilitating cross-border liquidity grows even more important. As the world's largest economies get ready for another big negotiation, there is a growing need for digital settlement options among institutions. XRP isn't just standing still, it's putting itself in a place where money will be moving in the future. That's the reason this breaking news is important. Let's take a better look at what's going on behind the scenes before we talk about the 500x prediction that everyone is talking about. Because the real power shift is going on slowly while everyone is looking at price charts and guessing what will happen in the short term. It's happening because of policy, money, and infrastructure. The truth is that CME Group's statement wasn't made by chance. It's a message. When the world's biggest derivatives market says in public that demand for regulated XRP futures has gone through the roof, it means more than we can imagine. Big players and institutions are getting ready for something big. They're not taking chances. They are setting up. This is also related to the spot XRP ETF applications that are going on right now. We have already seen how Bitcoin ETFs change the way the market works. As soon as they went live, they got billions of dollars in new money. Now, banks are getting ready to do the same thing with XRP. Keep in mind that XRP is one of the few digital products that is completely legal in the United States. When it is sold on platforms, the SEC versus. Ripple case already said that it was not a security. That one fact alone gives XRP a huge edge. Now, institutions don't have to guess. They know what they're buying and how to classify it. That's why Bitwise, CoinShares, and WisdomTree are jumping in so quickly. It's written on the wall for them. In the next big change in the financial world, liquidity will be king. That's why XRP was created, to make moving liquidity faster and cheaper across countries. Let's take a moment to think about this. This is not just something that CME Group sees. big banks, asset managers, and even national funds are starting to realize that the world needs a bridge asset. This is an asset that can move easily between digital and fiat systems. XRP is that link, but while all this real money builds positions in the background, the mainstream crypto media keeps spreading confusion. We already talked about the Coinbaro story that said Ripple co-founder Chris Larsson was cashing out. They didn't tell you this though. Larsson and other big investors recently put tens of millions of XRP into the biggest XRP treasury ever. They are investing in a long-term project that will increase institutional access and steady liquidity. That's not getting paid out, that's investing again. Building the base for the future financial rails is what that is. Clickbait gets people's attention, but not the truth. That's exactly why a lot of buyers miss the real chances. They pay attention to fear instead of the basics. Also, since we're talking about basics, we can't ignore the fact that politics around the world are putting stress on the markets. The US government shutdown will last for another week. There is no clear date for when it will open again. That means that the government is not paying its workers, agencies are not working, and investors are being careful. To make things even more unclear, the trade war story is heating up again, and tariffs and cross-border restrictions are being talked about every day. Markets don't like confusion. People who offer liquidity hate it even more. That's why the market seems stuck, like prices are being held still by an unseen hand. But this is the kind of place where XRP was made to work. When other systems get stuck and move more slowly, XRP's fast, borderless, and liquid design really shows. Also, don't forget that world meetings are coming up. The meeting between President Trump and President Xi Jinping isn't just for show, it's also for business. The current banking system is under a lot of stress, and both leaders are aware of this. There are more and more problems with inflation, debt, and cash flow. A digital transaction layer like XRP might be just what's needed to bring the way global payments are handled up to date. This means that while the news is full of political drama, a new financial system that is quicker, fairer, and more open is quietly coming into being. So the idea of a 500x move isn't just a dream, it's based on the possibility of this change. If XRP moves, that's not the question. The question is how quickly it moves. Let's talk about this 500x prediction, which everyone is either talking about, questioning, or hoping for in secret. It sounds crazy and full of hype the first time you hear 500x. But when we take our time and look at what that really means, it starts to make more sense, especially when we think about what's going on in the world of global banking right now.